What is going on, my friends, and welcome back to another video here on the channel. Well, Pepe's price just broke to the downside, and I want to give you an update on exactly what my strategy is now and what I'm expecting next. And so with that said, let's not waste any more time at all, and let's get straight into the video. And don't forget, my friends, if you do want to trade some Bitcoin, Solana, SWI, and many more, and all the way up to 500x leverage, you can use that BTCC link down below. Guys, if you do sign up specifically with my link down there, they're going to give you a 10% bonus on all first-time deposits between $500 and $100,000. This means, for example, if you deposit, say, $3,000, they're going to give you $300 on the spot to start trading with. And whatever profit you make from that is completely yours, no strings attached. This is literally an opportunity to make free gains on a very strong and good platform that's updating and getting better every single day. So feel free to go check out that link down below if, of course, that does interest you. Now, before we talk about this breakout right here, let me give you just a little bit of a recap of what we've been looking at so you can actually see why this breakout here isn't really that great. Okay, so what we, of course, know is that Pepe's price has actually been doing very good over the last couple weeks. We saw it obviously have that breakout towards the upside. We created what's called a descending channel. We were doing some purchasing ourselves here on this descending channel because I told you the likelihood is that we will see Pepe's price try to break upwards. Of course, that's what we saw. We saw Pepe's price break to the upside of that descending channel, which happens about 80% of the time. And then we laid out the 3-step confirmation. I told you all Pepe needs to complete 3 steps in order to be able to continue upwards. Step number 1 is it needs to break out and back test. We need to see that support held. That's 1. Step number 2 is we need to break the most recent macro high to set a new macro uptrend. That's step number 2. Step number 3 was we needed to break the pesky green box. This is the golden Fibonacci ratio, and if we could break that, it opens up the door for Pepe to start making his move up towards what I think could be the 3-3 level, which is right around here. Now, of course, that's exactly what we saw from Pepe. We saw its price start pushing upwards, breaking that pesky green box, and actually doing quite well. Now, Pepe was actually well on its way to making the move that we were hoping for in the more shorter term before the market did start to pull back and dump on December 10th. Of course, on December 10th, we saw the market pull back. Pepe tried to hold strong and hold its best, but it did fall victim to the rest of the market, pulling back downwards as we did see ETH and many more of the market members start to fall. Now, since then, what I've been really telling you all is that ideally what we're going to see is that this green box holds a support. I said, if we can see that this green box gets flipped from a resistance point all the way into a support point, we could be in a spot to where Pepe can try to make that move up towards the 3-3 level. But there is still a chance that we start coming back down for more of a macro correction to the downside that may just delay that move. I am still under the belief that Pepe is going to push up towards the 3-3 level. The moment we broke this green box, we opened that door. Just because we just start pulling back now doesn't mean that door isn't still open. The door is very much so still open, and I can show you examples of when we have lost the green box, come back down, found macro support, and then continue upward. So it's fine. It's just going to take longer. And quite frankly, after seeing all the pullback that we saw throughout a lot of the end of November and December, I was just hoping we didn't go through this portion. I was just kind of hoping we did flip this resistance into support and then just use that to continue upwards. That would have been the easiest way to do this. It would have been the most bullish scenario. And hey, maybe that's just not what's going to happen right now. Maybe it's going to get delayed, and that's okay. You guys know I'm a vast believer that this bull market is a slingshot. Whenever you have a slingshot, of course, the only way going forward is to pull back a little bit. You have to pull it back and let it go, and then it goes forward. You have to pull back, let go, then go forward. And so in moments like this, whenever we're pulling back, hey, just let it pull back, let go a little bit, and then eventually it will start moving forward. We're in a bull market at the end of the day. We should make that move. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And so because of that now today, let me talk about what is going on now that we have seen this green box get lost, because of course we did expect that a breakout was on the way. You guys remember that in yesterday's video, I said a breakout is on the way. We were looking at a tool called the Bollinger Band Width, and this thing was setting in macro lows. I told you this is going to swing upwards soon at some point, which means a breakout is going to happen soon. It doesn't tell you which direction it's going to break out. It just tells you a breakout's on the way. And well, we can see that that is exactly what's happening now. So again, now that you have a good understanding of what's been going on, let's zoom a little bit in closer and talk about what's happening now. Now, I will warn you, some of the things that we're about to get into might get a little bit complicated. So if you are someone who is new to this space and you're trying to figure this whole crypto thing out, or if you're advanced but you're just trying to add more tools to your toolbox, what I ask specifically of you, especially as we go forward to the rest of the video, is just to stick around at the end. At the end, I'm going to tell you a little bit about what we're doing over in the Patreon community, in which we have now seen hundreds of percentages in gains every single day for weeks. On good days and bad days, it doesn't matter. We're seeing hundreds of percentages in gains because of all the classes, live streams, workshops, signals, and much more. So if that's you and you want to be a part of that, all I ask again is that you quite simply just stick around until the end of the video. So now that Pepe's price is starting to head back towards the downside, I'm actually under the belief that there's a decent sized chance that it's going to find the macro low and try to bounce and continue its way back upwards at some point. Now, the only thing here, okay, the only thing here is that if we go out to the daily charts, there is an argument to be made that there is a more macro reset that could possibly happen based on something like the RSI. Now, we don't need this right now. Let's go to the RSI. Now, the reason that I say that is if you look at your macro daily RSI, it's actually losing the 50% threshold. And there are many times in which once it's lost the 50% threshold, it has continued all the way back to that oversold area. And we've not been to the oversold area in quite a while, in a couple months. And so because of that, of course, although I am under the belief that we are going to see Pepe's price try to set the macro high or lower high and continue upwards, what I want to kind of preface all of this with is that I am doing this in sort of smaller purchase amounts that will increasingly or in intervals get bigger as Pepe's price goes lower, just in case it does not. Okay. Now, what I want to talk about is there's two ways that this is going to go. There's two ways this is going to go. Pepe's either going to find a short-term lower high and try to use this to break upwards, break out of some little range that we're in right here. So it'll create a short-term lower high, or it's going to lose the 17,521 level. And if it loses the 17,521 level, we are in for quite a whooping. We're gonna probably see Pepe's price get kind of wrecked for a little while, and that's just okay. It is what it is. Now, I believe Pepe's price falling below this level is maybe about a 25% chance, maybe closer to a 30% chance as a result of what I'm seeing here from the RSI. This is what I was hoping wouldn't happen. I honestly didn't want it to see happen, but I've been telling you all it's very possible. And so knowing that, okay, let's talk about the 75% option. Let's talk about what happens if I am right in the sense that it's more likely that we see Pepe's price break upwards off of this zone. And then let's talk about what happens if I'm wrong, and well, I guess it's particularly not wrong because it's just a realm of percentages, but let's see if the thing that I hope doesn't happen does happen by losing 17.5. So if Pepe is going to build up a support level in the micro, what that's going to look like is this price really using one of these major support levels. Now, when I assess Pepe's price right here, whenever I'm looking at Pepe's price right here, what I come to recognize is that we actually have some pretty solid levels here. What you can see is that if I just draw out a couple horizontal lines on some of these previous points of support, Pepe has put in a ton of liquidity on many different levels throughout where we are now in the 17.51 level. Pepe's entire goal right now is to not lose this zone. We don't want to lose the 17.5 level. We don't want to see Pepe's price set a macro lower low because quite frankly, guys, it's just not good because the likelihood is that behind the lower low is going to be a lower high and then another lower low and then some sort of continuation upwards. That would delay us into February or March. That would make the move that we're hoping for not happen for a while, and we don't really want to see that happen, right? So the game plan and the goal is to not fall below 17.5, which is still another move of 17% to the downside. And of course, what I said before is we have a lot of reason to believe that there's a good chance that we don't get this fall, that we don't go back down here. Now, what I can actually do is I want to look at some of these key support levels. And my game plan actually is to assess which ones I believe are the strongest and actually set in some buy orders at those support levels. Now, what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to lay out a few here. So I noticed this one off bat. I noticed this one as well. And I noticed that one there. I would say these are the three highest levels of support that we have for Pepe right now that I can see with just the naked eye. Now, on top of that, what I also want to go ahead and do is I want to take my Fibonacci retracement tool and I want to lay out where that golden zone is. What you can see is that we also have this golden zone sitting right here, which is going to be the biggest support level that Pepe is going to have in the short term. This is the most important level. And my general thesis here is that as Pepe does start hitting some of these prices, I will actually be doing a little bit of buying. The reason I'm going to do some buying is because, again, I think there's about a 60-70% chance that we see Pepe's price use one of these key levels and start to continue upwards. I still believe we're in a bull market, and bull markets will historically break upwards. They will historically find macro higher lows and continue upwards. And so because of that, I'd like to take advantage of this. And so the way I plan on taking advantage of this is putting in some buy orders. Now, buy order number one is going to come once we do hit this box here. So we're going to go ahead and call this the 2-1 level. And let me go ahead and get some price labels out just so you can see that there. So we're going to go ahead and call this the 2-1 level right about boom. That's where we're going in. The second one that I'm going to try to pick up some Pepe at is at this key level of support that we got the double bottom on the shorter term time frames within this box. That's the 204 level. Now at the very bottom of the box, I'll pick up a little bit more Pepe. That's at the 19388 level. And actually what I'll go ahead and do is I'm going to get rid of this one. I'm not a super huge fan of this one just because although that is support, it's not very relevant to right now, but I would be willing to do one more tiny little purchase at the 188 level just in case we wick out of this red box, but then we recover back in and try to continue upwards. These are our 4 saving graces. These are the 4 levels that Pepe's price will probably need to hold if we're not going to see a more macro pullback. If we're going to avoid seeing Pepe's price pull back, what could be another 30%, these 4 levels are going to be the ones to very likely try to do. do it. And I think that they have a decent sized chance of doing it. You can't always bet against the trend. And so for me, my current strategy is to pick up some Pepe at these levels. Say if we do something like this, right? We come down, we bounce, we boom, boom, boom. Maybe we do something like this. We put in the inverted head and shoulders, and boom. Next thing you know, we're starting to push upwards. I'll have been able to capitalize on some decent sized purchases. Now, I do want you to be aware, these are not big purchases. These are not large purchases. There's a couple reasons they're not. First and foremost, I was buying Pepe down here. Okay, I was buying Pepe at these lower levels. So I'm not aping into Pepe in a pullback like this. There's just no need to. The second reason is you have to understand that there is still risk that Pepe's price is going to lose. There is still risk that Pepe, now that we've lost this green box, which I didn't want to happen, there is risk that we do come back below 17.5 and open up that door to backtest, open up that door towards these lower levels, and buying right here wouldn't be optimal if that is the case. And so because of that, these are going to be decent sized purchases, but not huge purchases. Just enough to make a difference if I'm right, but not enough to make a difference if I'm wrong. You know what I mean? Like if I get all these purchases in and it bounces, hey, that'll be some pretty good gains. But if I'm wrong and this thing does continue lower past this key point, it's not so much that it's a big deal. My average cost still does remain way down here. Sure, these will raise it up a tiny bit, but not enough to be recognizable in my opinion. So that's my strategy. That's my thought process. Again, I do believe that Pepe has a good sized chance of building up the support and continuing upward. So that is what I'm going to bet on. You know, you look at something like the 4-hour RSI, it is already getting towards that oversold region. And historically, when it gets there, we will see these bounces to the upside. That's just what's been happening. And so because of that, when I see things like this, I'm like, I'm willing to take a bit of a risk here. So obviously, guys, it's not financial advice. You can kind of do whatever you want. This is just my strategy. This is what I'm thinking. And well, this is what I'm hoping for. And so, of course, time shall tell. I did purchase a little bit of Pepe the other day. Actually, I think yesterday. I can go find that 1 second. Insights with Tyler. Let's go here. So let's go a little bit further down. So what you can see here, as I said, the Pepe hate comments came flying in today, buying some at the 2.2 level. And that one is a little bit down, but I'm actually getting more and more and more of these hate comments. Just people getting mad at Pepe. And what I've come to realize is when people get the most pissed off, that's some of the best times to buy. And so, yeah, I'm going to continue to do a little bit of purchasing now that we are getting closer and closer to my first set of buy levels. And so, of course, do watch these very closely. Your homework for tonight is to draw your lines in today. I want you to go in and I want you to draw your horizontal line at the 2.1 level, the 2.04 level, the 1.938 level, and the 1.8833 level. I want you to draw those lines in and watch them very closely because, again, I think that there's a good sized chance we do try to find support on one of them. So, of course, I'll continue to update you, but watch these very closely as Pepe's price does get closer and closer to them. Now, as I mentioned earlier, if you were someone who is simply just trying to get better at this whole crypto thing, no matter whether you're a beginner or whether you're advanced, I highly recommend you check out the Discord server, Tyler Hill's Crypto Vault. This is the place where we have stuff going out every single day. I'm talking Insights with Tyler, which are just my thoughts and insights on a bunch of different things, just videos, exclusive content, my buys and sells, and much more. You're going to get daily live shows on things like Q&A with Cade, Crypto Vault Live, Frankly Fridays, or Fridays with Frank, and many more things there. We have daily technical analysis reports on all the cryptos we talk about here on the channel. I have a fundamental analysis report that goes out every single day that goes over the market so you can get a good understanding of what's happening there. I have a team of professional traders who are buying or posting their buy and sell signals every single day. And remember, these are people whose livelihood relies on their trading, and they're giving you their buy and sell signals every single day. For executive members, we have what's called TA to go, where you can request your own technical analysis, and one of the best analysts I've ever met in my entire life goes in and gives you his own analysis reports. We have TA deep dives that come out. We have live trading sessions. We have executive classes. We have executive and exclusive live streams. We have premium classes on things like the Bollinger Bands, on things like the Fibonacci's. Guys, it goes on and on. We got tips with Tyler. We got beginners courses. These are 30-minute long videos with 20-page presentations, vocabulary sheets, cheat sheets, and much more. All of this education, all of this value is cultivating a community that is absolutely going absurd. They're going insane. They're generating hundreds of percentages in gains no matter what day it is. Yesterday on a bad day for the altcoin market, look at all these gains. That's because they're learning. They're learning and they're using that learning to create strategy. So again, if you want that to be yourself, what I want you to do is I want you to go check out the Patreon link down below. Guys, you can get in for as little as $5 a month. So go explore these options, go see what works best for you, and let me know what you think down in the comments below. But of course, don't forget, I like to post 4 or 5 videos every single day here on the channel. So if you are new here, I would really, really appreciate it if you could subscribe, smash that like button, and I can't wait to see you all in the next one. Peace out, everybody.